All right, so welcome back. And it's time for us to go into our communities to find out what's going on and shed some light on some challenges that people are facing in different communities. We're going to go to the Western region today, specifically in the Shama district. There's a community called the Anlo community within the Shama district. And there's a fire outbreak that, destroyed some property and victims are calling for help. We have a report brought to you by our colleague who is the Western regional correspondent, Citi. Let's take a look at this report. We'll come back and we'll talk to several people.
Shama Anguna Beach, a fishing community in the Shama district, has suffered over the years with tidal waves, which has destroyed several houses over here. But today, the sadness that has actually engulfed the community is not the usual tidal waves suffering, but a fire outbreak believed to have been triggered by an electricity supply line here. And as you can see, these are all remains of structures that have actually been burnt over here, as you can see from this iron sheet. Several of the houses you see here were burnt by last Friday's fire outbreak that actually touched several homes over here. What we see over here are basically clothes used by households, residents over here, and all these things have become waste. I'm told by residents over here that they have lost several properties and they are hoping that the electricity company through the PURC would actually come to their aid to see to what has happened here.
I don't know Friday 21st, we are 2 o'clock. Now, lighty, oh mama, papa. Yen bibia shele sisi ya yejina hade kwampo yeni hwe yeni sika bibia chese ya sisi wa hade kwampo yeni hwe enyama wa hye mo kwampo bi to mame o de bram na me hye mama me oti ntuma go fra no kwampo bi de no de bram mo frɛ ovi no hade yede ya meat pie kakra nka ne ye bi de koyano ne nyina ahye yeni bibia ahye yeni sika bibia eku bi wa hade yetu village service loan association sika wo mu ye 4500 ni nyina ahye mini mo ba manifo na ye adwuma sika mekaji wo bank me de botu dem ho ni nyina ahye chese ye ni hwe nti ye hia wono bo ankasa mpanyifo bi mo ba ba hwe obo twetwe pictures na ade ba odu kwanu ye nti hwe nti mo ama be ye sramon monkaka che ECG phone on na my boy and bon kasa because I didn't know just a light no to dance one son of Brian Chen e say jakeke a light.
I stay at Anguna Beach and I go to school at Dabuasi Senior High Technical School. On Friday, my books, my uniforms, my textbook, and my materials, all my school items has been burnt, and I was not in the house before. So I'm pleading for people to help me to go to my school.
That the fire started in the town, and this building was roofed. It was the kitchen of my wife, and then the fire engulfed, and then everything got burned down. As you can see, those just cooking utensils, they were all destroyed by the fire. And as at now, we don't have anything doing now, anywhere going. So we want ECG to tell PURC to come to our aid, seriously.
So I have with me an eyewitness from a neighboring house who also had a portion of his window also burnt to tell me exactly what he saw. Uncle, what did you see on the day?
I the one who saw the fire and I started shouting. That's why my voice also go low. So before you come to pour water on the first house, then you jump to the another house. Then I'm also in the other house, third house, helping them before somebody come and tell me that my own also catch fire. So before I run to my room, it's happening and other people also assisting me. So we are pouring the water, more water. It started burning the partitions and the blankets inside the rooms. There's no support. So I did blame the ECG because ECG is using us like whether we, the people of Anlo Beach, we are not human being or not, because they always stressing us with their bills. But instead of maintenance, they don't want to do it. So this is what is happening. So when their boss came in here that Friday, I told him that, you see what's happened? We are tracing them your bills, but we are don't do the maintenance. When we know that Anlo Beach community, we are surrounded by the sea, and the salt water is always pouring in the cables. And the cables too, you know it's a slaver, it shortly rust. So everything happened, I'll blame you, the electricity. If I were alone in this community, I have to take ECG to court. Because even how the fire is heavy, it loses the strength of the blocks. So when we are inside the block, we know that there is sounds dropping. That means the whole house is very weak. If they bring us the bag of cement, including the asbestos sheet, I would like it.
So I'm currently in a different house which also suffered the fire outbreak, and from what I see over here, these are fishing nets, because the community happens to be a fishing community where the mainstay of the people is fishing. And these, I'm told, are all fishing nets and wires that they use in pulling the canoe. And although the DCA, I'm told, has actually sent some NADMO officials to come to the community tells me that they are actually here to receive any tangible support. Meanwhile, the assemblyman for the Anlo Beach, Samuel Bolu, on his own, upon hearing the incident, has actually come to the aid of the community. But he thinks the electricity company and other responsible institutions within the Shama district must actually come in with a better support to the people over here.
I heard the incidents on Friday. I quickly rushed to the place, and then when I came to see my people, I mean, most of them, their entire belongings has been destroyed. As an assemblyman, you know, I can't do much, but I've been able to provide 5 bags of rice and 5,000 Ghana cedis, at least to keep them a bit moving till other institutions come in. On this note, I really want to also appeal to our Citi, because the incident was really triggered by their installation. So the electricity should definitely have to come to their aid.
We firstly thank the Assemblyman. He have done a lot to us, because he is always showing his appreciation to the people of Anlo Beach. So we like, but we also appeal to ECG, the boss or director of ECG company as a whole. They must immediately come.
So I have moved to a new house where the fire outbreak here in Anlo Beach in the Shama district actually caused major destruction. And over here, this house was actually pulled down because of the intensity of the fire outbreak. And so what is happening here right now is that we have a mason on site who is actually making sure that the structure is rebuilt, but at the cost of the landlord as we speak right now. With the Electricity Company of Ghana being accused in this matter as having played a role in the fire outbreak over here, what has it got to say about the sufferings of the people?
In the coastal areas like this place, when there are strong winds, sometimes it affects our lines, where you get some of them marine, which obviously may lead to some sparks. It's unfortunate that the roofs were touched, and that led to it catching fire and spreading to the other buildings. The way forward is for us to explore the usage of insulated conductors, so that in the near future, when we have stronger winds like this blowing, it will not lead to sparks like what happened earlier. It's unfortunate that the people had to lose their property in this manner, and we are assuring them that we are going to work on it. Because it's a natural occurrence, we will send it to the appropriate quarters for them to decide on issues related to compensations.
For now, the victims here at Anlo Beach, which is a major fishing community here within the Shama districts, are waiting for the state to actually come to their aid together with the Electricity Company of Ghana through the support of the PURC, to actually resuscitate their situation as it is now. For Citi News, I'm Akwesi Ejenim. Shama Anlo.
All right, so that's our correspondent there, a colleague and correspondent, Kwesi Ejenim. Now, this story is like an onion. There are different layers, so you have to peel and try and understand what really has gone on here. And why it is that ECG seems to have, left this situation so long, right, for this to happen.
Right.
Okay, we see the representative there of ECG talking to us about the fact that the wires were low hanging, and there's no reason why
it should be
precariously low hanging on anybody's roof. And mind you, these are not like high buildings. These are very typical beachside buildings. They are very low, So then that's a problem in terms of the way things were done and allowed to be. But on the other hand, I'm just thinking about this and asking myself, were these the main lines feeding the community, or are these the electrician connected lines where we've pulled from the main pole to join, to come to our house, and then connecting between houses? And you know how people also do this type of illegal connections and all these kind of things. I would like to, to delve further into this.
It's actually quite unfortunate because, even if the fire did not happen, something else could have happened.
Yeah, electrocution.
Electrocution, especially where there are kids. I see there are kids running around there. So it's a very unfortunate one. But it would be actually nice to talk to someone to know how it really happened, how long it's been for, and why they've been quiet for so long.
Yeah, because again, if this fire didn't happen, attention wouldn't have been brought to this situation.
It would have still been there
and there are many communities like this. Many communities. Now, somehow it seems to me that the fisher folk around the country seem to have been left to their fate in a certain sense. Yesterday we were talking about the tidal wave and the communities there. So it's like the fishing communities tend to be neglected a little bit more than the rest.
Well, you might call it neglect, but if they have issues, are they talking about it?
Well, it's come to our attention now. Our colleague, Akwesi Ejenim, has joined us on the line. Akwesi, good morning. Hello, Akwesi.
David, morning.
Yes, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, David.
All right. Now, give us a little more context. So, I noticed that in the report, there's a representative from the ECG talking about low-hanging electrical lines and, of course, the wind blowing and so on, and, touching the sheets and catching fire. What's the situation within the community in terms, prior to this fire, in terms of how the electricity lines were? Do you have a fair idea? Is it from the main lines that, when they plant the poles in the community, is it from the main lines, or is it from what you will find that our local electricians will go and tap from the line and join to the house, kind of thing? What really happened here?
Well, David, this is a community of more than 8,000 settlers, and they are mainly fishermen. And it's a community that is counted as one of the major communities within the Shama district, a coastal community who mainly do fishing. And when it comes there with their electricity outlook, it's just like how the electricity company has, done its electrification around any community of such stature. And so it's a normal electrification, lines laid out across the streets and all that. So, but what I realize is that most of the lines are not that, strict. We have a lot of them hanging very close to the roofs of the buildings, or the structures over there. And so the suspicion or the allegation that the fire might have started after a spark was detected on the lines could be close to the truth, because these are lines hanging very close to the roofs of these structures, and the roofs are not, most of them are not iron sheet. They are just bamboo leaves, bamboo structures. I mean, yeah. So it is easy to actually catch fire when there should be any spark from the electricity line. So that is the situation over there. The electrification of the town is the normal you see in any village you have in Ghana.
So it appears from what you're saying that it was a spark that happened separate from the roof, as in it wasn't the wires that touched the roof. It was like some kind of a spark, from the wires, maybe the wires touching each other or something. A spark goes off, and then it falls on a thatch roof and then starts a fire.
Yes, that is the account I gathered from the eyewitnesses. I mean, there was a spark on the cables, and then it caught, a fire on one of the roofs, and then it moved from a house to the other for the close to 7 or so houses to be.
Okay. Now, the question that comes immediately to mind is, this is a fishing community, which presupposes that they are right next to the beach. That's a very windy environment. Sure. Is that not the case?
Exactly so. And it's not just windy. This is a community that has also suffered from tidal waves, over the years. We've done several reports on that. And there's even anticipation that around mid-year, June, July, that is where they record this issue. So in terms of wind, they are very intense wind blowing because of its closeness to the beach. And so it is easy for some of these lines to be blown away by this wind.
Yeah.
So the wind that we experience at the beach.
So it's rather curious to me that ECG doesn't have a different strategy of electrifying the community, right? And they've done it the same way they will do any other community that doesn't have challenges with wind.
Well, I'm talking to the ECG regional PRO. What I got is that they've actually seen the need to do something about electrification. They are saying that they are not going to consider the use of insulated cables, and then also do regular maintenance because of the exposure from the sea. The lines easily get rusty, and when they become rusty, it is easy for some of these sparks to be recorded. And so it's one thing that they've identified, and they are now considering going in that direction.
Okay, but has any member of the ECG come to, see the place, see exactly how the people feel and the amount of damage that has been caused by this inferno?
Well, so far, what the ECG has done is that when the incident happened, most of the lines got bent. So they quickly went there. I think on a Friday, they were called. They went there to fix the line. So they restored power to the community by changing the bent wires. But in terms of compensation, I spoke with a PRO who said that is something that will be forwarded to management to decide. He cannot speak to how liable they are in terms of the role they played in the course of the fire. So that is something that is yet to be decided on. So they've not actually gone there to see to how they are coping in terms of the disaster, in terms of their welfare.
Right. Okay, so talking about the families, obviously in the report we actually saw that some homes were destroyed. What is the position right now? Are they sleeping outside? Is there a place for them to actually lay their head? Are there any plans for that?
Well, there's a small community where basically everybody knows everybody. So if one has a problem, it is easy for somebody to be accommodated in another person's house. So they are basically searching those, who don't have a place. Some of them, their houses have totally been bent, so they are open to the sky. So they are perching. We also saw some people now raising some of the walls actually came down. So we saw some of them doing masonry work to really erect the structures back. So there's been some work, individual work going on, and those who don't have a space are also perching.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Akwesi. We appreciate your time. So that was our correspondent, Akwesi Enim J. He is our Western Regional Correspondent. Yes. And we need to talk to ECG.
Yes.
I am asking a few questions here.
You asked a very important question, which I really liked. You were like, did they actually build, I mean, the whole structure of the wires, was it actually built to fit the community, to fit their environment, or they just build it like how it's supposed to be built, maybe in places that are not near the sea, in places that are not windy?
Yeah, I don't know why in 2023 you are now saying after a fire that you're going to consider making insulated cables.
Exactly.
Why
didn't you think about that?
Insulated cables is what should have been used at the beginning when and by the way, listen, at the risk of sounding ignorant, where we are now, should we not be doing insulated cables only, the entire country? You know, I mean, of course, it's a whole lot of financing and, you know, they need, if you're going to be changing cables and all those things, it's going to be a whole lot of cost. I understand that. But for a community like this, that it's not the doing of the people. The area is windy.
Right.
You know, it's heavily windy. There are places like that, you know, whenever it's like another example, you know, there are bays, you know, around the sea and along the coast, and they're super, super windy.
Very windy.
You know, and so because of that, you can't do your wiring the same way. So even if it's the same sort of architecture in terms of the arrangement of the wiring, at least they should be insulated.
Well, it's obvious that it was not well thought through.
Or maybe it was a cost issue, I don't know.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be joined by the Assemblyman Samuel Bolu. He's Assemblyman for the Anlo Beach in the Shama district. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right, so give us an update from where you sit, the current situation on the ground. Are your people exposed to the elements? Are they sleeping outdoors? What's happening within the community?
In the community, you know, previously the community has suffered for tidal wave, and these challenges has been there till recently when the fire outbreak came. The fire outbreak definitely was caused by, call it electricity supply or electricity installation around the area. So I would say currently our community members, those victims, those who are affected, are staying with their friends and family as they usually do.
Okay, so usually when there's trouble like this with the tidal waves, and in this case the electricity, they would go to family and friends, and that's where they will lodge.
Yes. Normally, if it happens like those days when the tidal waves comes and then many houses are affected, sometimes we convey them to public places like schools, and then the next day, before families and friends comes for them, and then they put them among the families and friends at the moment.
In this case, how many households have been affected?
In this case, 7 houses. And about 45 occupants.
Okay. And is there any sort of help for them in the immediate, aftermath of this situation? Is there any immediate help that's coming either from the Assembly or from NADMO, for the people?
At the moment, NADMO has been there.
Okay.
The DC has been there. The MP has also been there, but so far they have not been able to give them anything yet. They say they are coming for assessment and they will be back.
Yeah. All right. Have you had any conversations with ECG at all, considering that it appears from all accounts that we're getting that it was definitely a fault that came from ECG?
Actually, the incident happened on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it was a public holiday. Yesterday, we actually wrote to PURC and copy to the ECG. So at the moment, we have sent a letter to them. We had a conversation with them earlier, so they visited the site. They quickly did the corrections and installed the power back.
Yeah.
So the electricity people are aware, but we still want to inform them officially. So we will be sending letters to those authorities.
Right. Honorable, how would you rate the current state of the electric supply in the district?
I would say in the community, not the entire district.
Right.
The community, the lines, because it is at a coastal area, so it actually needs a regular maintenance. The stays sometimes get rot, and normally it gets rusted. Normally, if nobody, it is not being attended to, you realize the wire is dropping. If you go to the community, you can really see that the wires are dropped. And then because it's at the B side, the wind, and then that it blows, sometimes you can see the wire triggers, and then the fire is coming. And that is exactly what really happens, and then the causes fire to about 7 houses. So I think the entire installation really need a maintenance, proper maintenance.
Right. But what role can the community members actually play in trying to prevent incidents like this?
The electricity installation, I think, is the ECG who is responsible. So if there's any, I don't think, to me, I don't think the community should really get involved when there is an issue regarding electricity, because they are responsible. If something happens and then a community member who claims to be electricians probably does something and something happens, I think that person or the entire community will be very responsible. So normally when some of these incidents happens, we just call electricity immediately. We know where the fuses are, where one can remove so that if the power is dropping on the ground, it does not affect others.
Right.
For this, we have informed our electricians, those who are electricians in the community, and this one, city people are aware. This is the only thing at the moment the electricity, electricians in the community does,
Right.
so that to prevent further damages.
Right, but is ECG accessible to the community members? Can they just walk into the ECG office and ECG will actually listen to them?
Sure. I mean, if incidents happens, pick the phone up for them. But one challenge that we have from the ECG office, we are under the secondary district. From secondary traveling even to that community, if I'm not mistaken, can take about 1 hour or more. So it's quite a distance.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, so we've been speaking with Samuel Bolu, who is the assemblyman for the Anlo-Shama district. Yeah. All right, so I still feel that ECG has answers.
Yeah.
Questions to answer.
Right.
You know, from the conversations we've had so far, it's very obvious that one of the questions that I really want to ask ECG is, you see, lines sag over time.
True.
Right. You can't also make the lines too tight, right? Because it's metallic, and they expand and contract depending on whether it's hot or it's cold. Do you see? So with that situation there, what is it that makes it sag so much that the winds now, when it blows, the lines touch
each other,
which should never happen, you see? So is it that the poles are bending towards each other, which is making it sag more? You know, and if that's the case, then we should need to have a reporting system within the community that says that we've noticed there's a problem here. ECG, please, can somebody come and take care of this? You know,
I also think.
So when you asked him what the community members can do, that's what came to mind.
Right.
A reporting system that says that people should, if you see something that's out of the ordinary or something abnormal happening, it, you know, talks of future danger that could happen. So then, do they report? Is there a system by which they can report, to the nearest ECG office?
Well, I see two things. Now, while talking about the nearest ECG office, he said it's 1 hour.
Over an hour away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 hour away. It's not like in Accra.
No, I mean, I know Western Region fairly well. I know where Shama is, and I know that when back in the days when I used to go to Western Region, you arrive in Shama first, right? As you are driving into Takoradi, you arrive at Shama, and then you say, "Oh, Shama, I've reached." Mm-hmm. But you drive before you get to Takoradi. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is right. It's like an hour.
Right. So I feel like there should be maybe a small office around those areas.
Yeah.
Like
some kind of like a satellite office.
Something, or maybe a little office for reporting at least. Somebody to take their reports. Because listening to everything he says, the problem here is people can't walk all that, go that far to go report. And number two, there's also a problem.
Which means that ECG also probably doesn't
come there enough.
A bird's eye view of what's going on in some of these further away communities.
Sure. So that's why there's also that's what also causes the lack of maintenance, or it looks like there's a lack of maintenance because it's like they're probably clueless of what's going on in that area because nobody's reporting. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, let's just take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll delve further into. All right, we have Benjamin Kwaku on the line. He's a regional PRO for ECG. Mr. Kwaku, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right. Now, try to help us understand what this situation is all about. What is it that would cause maybe the wind or some other kind of natural phenomenon to get your wires to spark fire, as the situation seems to have been here?
Well, the line wasn't clear, but I'm sure I heard what you said. You want to know what could cause our lines?
Yes, basically.
Coming out. Okay. And first of all, I would like to say, in situations like this, when people lose property, it's justifiable that they become emotional. We have visited the site. When it happened, we went there, and then the first decision we took was to change the conductors to insulated one. But then again, we realized that the place, that is the soil, was very loose. I'm sure we've all visited the beach before, and we know how the site affects the soil there. So the whole place is not only Anlo Beach. If you go to a place like Abu Isi or Abu Adre, which is closer to Anlo Beach, you realize that there are series of erosions there, and the soil there was very, very loose.
Okay.
So then if we even change the lines to insulated conductors, the next thing that we are going to experience is that the poles will also come down because of the nature of soil there. And it can also lead to something else. So we are still exploring other opportunities as in what we have to do for us to give them supply. It is not within our power to tell them to move from that place or relocate. I think that would have been the best thing to happen. And also, if we are to use underground cables, that will also not be best, because eventually it's going to react with the sea water, and it's also going to lead to something else. So we would wish that the members of the community that Anlo Beach will be patient with us, so that we find a lasting solution, a very permanent one, so that we can restore power or give them power.
All right, Benjamin, let me ask about some of the challenges you have with your coastal communities. Of course, the sea is a major, corrosive when it comes to metallic wiring and all of that. How much is that of a challenge for the work you do in the Western region?
Well, it's a natural occurrence. and we are aware that something like that will happen. I mean, once a while, I think the key reacting with our installations in those areas. So it's something that we have been battling for some time now. But it is also important to note that as at the time we extended our network to that area, the city had not claimed the land to where it is at the moment.
Okay.
Yes. So with something which is beyond our control, like the movement of the sea and how it affects the land there, it affects or it poses a big threat to our network. We do not say that because of that we don't have to maintain the network. We do that occasionally. We go there, we check the lines, the integrity of the lines, the ones that need to be sprayed with anti-rust items, we use them on them. The ones that need to be changed, we do change them. It wasn't time for us to do regular maintenance there. I'm sure we would have. And there wasn't even further eyewitness accounts that we got. There wasn't even an indication that something like that or it was a threatening situation at that time. It was all about the wind being stronger than expected. And you know, when you were on the coast, things like that happened. And that was what led to the tagging of the line, which eventually led to the conductor falling on the taxi, which started the fire.
Right. Benjamin, you talked about maintenance. I would like to know how many times in a month, or maybe say how many times in a year, do you actually visit those areas to maintain the cables?
Okay. The minimum time, okay, for us to maintain our line or our network in a particular area, the minimum time is 6 times in a year. That's the major maintenance work.
Right.
Aside the major maintenance work, when there are minor defects that come to our notice, we quickly go there and then we ensure they are worked on.
Right. And also you talked about you actually talked about when you built or when the whole cable was set up in the beginning, the whole system was set up in the beginning, the shores hasn't, I mean, the sea hasn't come up to the shoreline like it did now. But as it's coming closer, don't you think it's important for ECG to actually find a solution? Because obviously we know that as the years go by, you know, the shoreline is changing. So like the sea is getting closer every time. So don't you think it was important for ECG to actually say, okay, this is happening and we've realized this. Let's find a way to actually build it better for these people? Or you didn't see that there was going to be maybe, you know, an incident like this?
Okay, as I said earlier, the best thing would have been to relocate the network to a higher ground. Okay, but then the persons who are using it, the consumers, that's the persons at Anlo-Shama Beach, right? Which I understand they have been asked that the authorities sometime back asked that they should relocate to a safer ground, are still there. So then, if you are moving it, if let's say you want to move it to a higher ground or a more solid ground, okay, we are talking about, let's say, 2 kilometers from where they are, which also does not allow us to string lines without poles for that distance. Okay, so then what it means is that we have to cut them off. We have to curtail supply to that area because of the distance. Okay, and it's important to note that electricity now is more. It's not a privilege for the people of Ghana. It's a necessity. So you have to find a way to balance the situation. It's unfortunate that this thing happened. The balancing of the situation was for us to explore the possibility of using the insulated conducted, so that when it even falls on somebody's building, because it has been insulated, there wouldn't be any form of electrical conduction at that point. You get it? But then again, the base is very weak. The base is very weak. So if we do that, which is something we could have done within 2 days, but immediately we do that, we have also realized that the poles will not stand the test of time.
Yeah.
As in the nature of the soil there. Okay, the loose nature of the soil there. So then it's like pouring water into baskets. You end up losing everything, and then we'll have to come back there. So the next time the sea, if you are not lucky, the sea is going to wash everything away, and then we'll have to come back, invest there again, knowing that this is what might happen in the future. So we are still exploring other opportunities or other avenues for us to get supply to the people. I think it's a very safe medium of supply.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Benjamin. So that was Benjamin Kwako, who is a Western Regional PRO for ECG. It looks like they're in a bit of a catch-22 situation. Yes. If you go here, there's trouble. If you pass here, there's trouble. Which one do you choose? Right. If you go underground and you decide to put the cables underground, you have seawater seeping through the soil. Eventually, it's going to corrode the cables. And this one is in direct contact.
Yes.
You know, it's not the mist.
Exactly.
It's the direct contact with the water.
And it's going to be a problem to the people themselves.
Yes,
they may get electrocuted. That's
I mean, even if you insulate them, if it wears away the insulation, then what happens? You know, it's in the earth. But then, you know, you also have the other option, which is to insulate the cables, you know, that are running in the air above the houses. But if you do that, there's the issue of also there's also the issue of the weight, you know, on the poles as they are. And you're saying that, you see, these are poles that are sunk in sandy soil.
In the sandy soil, so obviously
the weight of it is also an issue.
Right.
Anyway, we've been joined by the NADMO Director for Shama District, Michael Nyan. Mr. Michael Nyan, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right, so having been to the community, what is NADMO's position in terms of bringing some kind of relief to the people? Oh, it seems we've lost him. We've lost the NADMO Director. But anyway, we'll try and raise him up again on the line.
For me, like, all I'm just concerned, and I wish I could have asked Benjamin, is just like he said, electricity is a necessity. These people have lost some of their necessities, like their clothes, their houses, most importantly, even their pots and stuff that they used to cook. What is ECG going to do about it? You know, helping them or supporting them. What is ECG going to do about it? They should not just let them, you know, go like that, or let them just fend for themselves. I think it's nobody's fault, but obviously it's happened from an ECG wire. So what is ECG going to do about it? I really wish and I really pray that they look into it and help them somehow.
Well, you know what? Let's just take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get to talk to NADMO Director. We'll try and raise him on the line again.
Welcome back, and it's still Breakfast Daily, and we're still on our community development story, still talking about the Inferno that happened at the Shama district. And it's actually time for us to talk to Michael Nyan, who is the NADMO Director for the Shama district. Hello, Michael.
Hello, sister.
Good morning. You are welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm sure you've heard about what happened, about the Inferno. Have you visited the area?
Yes, we do.
Okay, but have you visited? I know you've heard, but have you visited the area?
Yeah, I have visited it twice.
Okay, and then what is NADMO doing about the situation?
Yeah, in fact, the day that incident happened, I went there with my assembly member over there and my district BNI to assess the situation. In fact, it was in the evening.
Right.
With my zonal officers who live in the community. So we assessed the situation, but we couldn't finish. So the next day, Saturday, we continue. And that is yesterday. The DC for the district and the coordinating director, the district fire commander in the district, we all moved there to also assess the situation for themselves. So far, we have visited the community thrice.
Okay.
And what the DC told them that they should stay calm. He is doing everything possible to arrange so that those who are affected can be looked at.
Right.
So far, this is what has happened.
Okay, all right. So you visited there twice and you've talked about assessments. So from all the assessments that you had, that 3 times that you visited, what's your conclusion on that?
The conclusion, in fact, the incident was for electrical fault. You see, the cables have dropped. So anytime there's a heavy wind, it's joined together. So that brought the fire. So the fire officer told them that, or even the GCE told them that he will let the electricity people come to the community today. So maybe as we are speaking now, I won't be surprised that the electricity people are in the community.
Right.
To rectify some of the electrical poles that have been destroyed.
Right. So you actually mentioned that about 7 houses were affected. Now, is there a way to actually help these 7, households with relief items, which is the most important thing right now, because some of them have lost everything. So is there a way NADMO is actually helping them with relief items?
Yes. In fact, I've talked to my regional director. As in the district, in our stores, we don't have any relief items.
Oh, okay.
So when it happened like that, we have to make our report to region. So yesterday we sent our report through email to region.
Okay.
So they are also, I've informed them. So maybe they work on it today. But before that, I've discussed issues with my district chief executive and my coordinating director. So they have put their heads together. They are also planning some relief items that can be sent to them.
Okay.
So maybe today or tomorrow, the assembly will come out with something reasonable for them.
Okay, still on the relief items, we hear this area also suffer, tidal waves. And then with this tidal waves and this thing happening right now, and this Inferno happening right now, obviously, I'm sure with the tidal waves, you guys have actually helped them before. How long did it take for you to get this relief items to them? I just want to know how long it would take to get the relief items. I know you've sent your email to regional office, but how long is it going to take before, they get the relief items?
As for the NADMO outfit or for my region, I can't say specifically, but for the district that I'm working with the DC and the coordinating director, I can assure that within we went there yesterday, and when we come, I and the coordinating director of the DC had a meeting concerning the relief items. So possibly tomorrow or next, they must receive the relief item. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining the show.
All right, so that was Michael Nyan,
yes,
the NADMO director for the Shama district. And NADMO is poorly resourced. That's the reality, and so.
And this is not the first time we're talking.
No, I mean, we've known
to them
this,
about,
seen this, and they always have challenges. It doesn't matter which part of the country they find themselves in. They always have challenges going in to support, with relief items, Anyway,